Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Real Life Process podcast. It is so great to be back with you, whether you are listening in on your favorite podcast app or you're listening in on our YouTube channel at the Real Life Process. You can go and find us out there on YouTube world as well. Either way, we are thrilled to be with you each and every week here on the podcast. You get to listen in as we share tips and stories and practical action steps about how you can live from rest, not rush, and do what matters. My name is Teresa McCloy, and I am thrilled to be with you. Do What Matters is the name of our new book that will be coming out on November the 1st. We're so excited. We are entering into kind of book launch season. In fact, as I'm recording this episode, just in about 10 days, we will be doing a big book release party that's kind of the kickoff to book season. And I will mention it here. We will put it in the show notes. We have our book page up and ready to go. You can go to Do What Matters book. Do What Matters with an S, book.com. And you can find places where you can buy the book at all your favorite retailers, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, all the things. It's out there in the world, and we can't wait to share it with you. But the exciting part is not only can you download and get the book or get it shipped to you, we'll even have Kindle is available here before too long, but you can get free resources that we're going to be doing with those of you who pre-order the book before November 1st. We have a lot of great giveaways. We have a documentary that we're doing that we're going to ship your way. We have some group coaching that we're going to do with brand new content. We have a guidebook, all kinds of things to go with the book if you pre-order. So dowhatmattersbook.com and download, come back to that page, enter your email that you've downloaded the book and your receipt, and we will make sure that you get all of those pre-order bonuses right before the book launches. So you get an email saying things are coming, and then we will get you in that list to get all those pre-order bonuses as they're available and they come out. But let's get to the content for our podcast episode today. And I want to talk about this idea of what will the dream cost you? So what will the dream cost you? When you have a dream, a big dream, such as I had to write a book, such as I had to start the real life process, as many of you as our longtime listeners have a dream, we want to talk about what will that dream cost you. And I'm going to refer today in this podcast episode many times to a book by a man named Gay Hendricks called The Big Leap. And he's written a lot about the zone of genius and moving into the next level of growth. And what will it cost you? So I'm going to push you just a little bit today because I want to talk about how do we get to the next level. So many of you that we hear from, so many of you that are the facilitators that we have, that we've coached and we've trained to use our content, are sitting right on their zone of genius. You're living in your zone of excellence, but you're ready to kick it up and take it to the next level. And what is the next level? And what will it cost you? What are some things that you need to lean into, get prepared for, get ready for? I am ready to take it to the next level. And I'll be honest, I want to hang out with people who want to go to that next level in their life's work as well. So what is the zone of genius? What is that place that you get to, that you live for in the work that you're called to do? Now, when I say that, I am talking about this spiritual work that you just feel this connection to, that this is your life work. This is the big thing that you were to put out into the world, or you were to bring to the world, or you were to give to the world. So when creativity flows freely and you're actively pursuing those things that offer you the greatest fulfillment and satisfaction, you're living in your zone of genius. When you're to a place where you say, this doesn't even feel like work. This doesn't even, like, I get excited every morning when I wake up and I think, what are the conversations I get to have today? Who are the people that I get to connect with? What is the content that I get to create? What are the conversations that I get to have today? Not that I have to have, that I get to have today. So I want to talk a little bit about what's right below that, right? So that's the zone of genius, when you're in that space. And sometimes we bump up to that, but we don't go all the way in and we don't live there because it feels like it's going to cost us something if we give that up. Or if we go there. But I want you to hear about this. This is where so many of you live, is in the zone of excellence. The temptation is strong. This is from Gay Hendricks' book, The Big Leap. The temptation is strong to remain in your zone of excellence. It's where your own addiction to comfort wants you to stay. It's also where your family, friends, and organizations want you to stay. And we're going to talk about that here in just a minute. You're reliable there, and you provide a steady supply of all the things that your family and friends and organization thrive on. The problem is that a deep, sacred part of you will wither and die if you stay inside your zone of excellence. Wow, that's super powerful. It's the comfort zone. It's the, I'm good at this, I can do this. But there's something in you that says, there's more. There's something else I need to bring to the world. I can do this well, but what's the next thing? And really listen to what, if you have to hit the 15-second back button on your podcast player, I want you to do that, because I want you to hear that it's comfortable for your family and your friends and those around you, maybe in an organization you work with or in a church setting or whatever your organizational structure is. Sometimes those that care about us the most would love for us to stay right there in that zone of excellence, because we're doing a great job. We're being a great spouse. We're being a great parent. We're being a great employee. But what would it be to step out, to step up a little bit more, to say, man, I want to live in this place in my marriage. I want to live in this place. Will that push them out of their comfort zone as well? It might. And that might cost you something. Now, I'm not referring to it'll cost you your marriage, it'll cost you relationships, but it will cost you some work that you would have to do. And Gay Hendricks talks about in his work the upper limit problem. You know, Zig Ziglar used to talk about how you could train fleas, right? Many of you, depending on your age, you've heard that story of he could train the fleas by putting the lid on the jar and they would still only jump up so far. The upper limit problem is a tendency to sabotage ourselves when we've exceeded the artificial upper limit. The lid's not there anymore. There's opportunity for you. I promise there is. There's opportunity for you. One step at a time, one small step. Here at the Real Life Process, as part of our components, we teach you to kind of put your blinders on around certain areas in your life that matter. We call them areas of focus. These are the things. I can't do all the things. I need to live into these zones of genius in these particular areas. And I want to be the best I can possibly be in these areas of my life. Not 13, not 15 areas, but 5 to 7. 5 to 7 big rocks, big things that matter in your life. And then to not sabotage ourselves when we hit the upper limit. We write I am statements around those areas of focus. I am living this way in my spiritual life. I am living this way in my professional life. In a year to 18 months, that's where I'm going to be. And I'm not going to sabotage it along the way. I'm not going to set too low of a goal, too low of a dream statement that I'm making there. but I'm going to know that it's going to cost me something to go there. So let's talk about, now that we know a zone of genius, it's living in where the creativity is flowing freely. It's not living just in the zone of excellence, and it's not allowing ourselves to be tamped down by the upper limit challenge, but it is going to cost you something. What might it cost you? Let's go in knowing. We talk a lot about pre-decision here at the Real Life Process. Let's go in knowing that we can pre-decide some things so it doesn't cost us as much to get there. So don't shrink back from the efforts that it's going to cost you. What skills would you learn in advance if you could, knowing where you want to go? Who could you bring alongside you to get you where you want to go? So in a couple of weeks, I told you we're having our Real Life Process Facilitator Retreat. And we're combining that with our book release. And one of the things that we're doing is I'm inviting a whole bunch of people in that have been people that have spoken to my life. They've taught me different skills, from sales to marketing to writing books to just how to coach, all kinds of skills that I have learned in the past 5 to 7 years that I have asked these people to teach me. I have put myself in their proximity and I have learned from them. And it has cost me some money. It has cost me a time investment to learn those things so that I can move into my zone of genius. So I've had to stretch myself. I've had to learn skills in advance. I've gotten some certifications. I hired someone to be a writing coach for me and help me in writing the book when I hit the wall and I'm like, I've done this much. Now what do I need to do? So I ask for help. So sometimes it costs you, sometimes your pride to ask for help, to say, I can't do this alone. But I think that's just such a beautiful thing to say, I can't do this by myself. I'm not going to shrink back from this. I'm going to move forward and I'm going to surround myself with people. So I'm bringing all those people in so that my facilitators can meet those people because they might be just who they need in their lives as well. So you may need to ask for help. It may cost you asking. It may cost you opening your mouth and saying, I need this. The other thing I want you to notice is, what is your mind telling you? What are your thoughts telling you? We talk so much here at the process about our thoughts create that emotion, which creates an action, gives us a result. There's a circumstance, a thought, a feeling, an action, and a result. And I want you to notice your mind. So what is your mind saying when you have to lean into the hard things, the things that might cost you? Is it saying, I've got to do this? Is it saying things like, I'm frustrated or I hate doing this? How could you reframe some of the things that your mind is telling you? As a believer, I really lean into scripture here where, Paul says, why do I do the things I don't want to do? Why do I keep doing them? And then how much it talks about renewing our mind, renewing those thoughts that we're putting into our head and renewing those thoughts. So, because those are so many times they're fear statements. They're just statements that are straight from fear. Gay Hendricks in this Big Leap book says this quote, fear is excitement without breath. Wow, just think about that. I'm fearful. It's like excitement without breath. And here's what this intriguing statement means. The very same mechanisms, sorry, I can't say that word, the very same mechanisms that produce excitement also produce fear. And any fear can be transformed into excitement by breathing fully within it. Just taking a breath, just saying, I don't need to be afraid right here. I don't need to let this fear cost me the excitement of leaning into something hard. So instead, I'm frustrated. I just may not know how to do this yet. I've got to do this. I get to do this. And when I do this, I'm going to learn. I might make a mistake, but I'm going to learn. I hate doing this. Ask yourself why. What about that particular thing? Why are you saying I hate? That's a very strong word. Maybe it's just, this is hard, and you honor the struggle. You honor the struggle. To get to the next level, there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be things we need to learn. There's going to be places we need to ask for help. There's going to be places that we want to reframe the thoughts that we're having so we can get to the next place. And there are steps up the ladder. And so I really want you to think, as we kind of wrap our minds around, what's it going to cost you to get there? I really want you to pull out a piece of paper, a journal, to type for a bit of what is the next thing? What is the thing that I really want to creatively flows within me, and I actively pursue this thing? I don't know what that is for you. Only you know what that is. And it could be so many different things. And we explore that so much in the real life process, that part of who am I being? Who am I? How am I being wired and created? What are my needs and my values? What are the things I want to focus on? And out of that being, that foundational real self, comes the explosion of the real work that you're to do. I do believe with all my heart, though, it starts in knowing yourself well first. Knowing yourself well first. And out of that, I believe that you will find the work that is yours to do. We've seen it time and time again. When you stop and you take some time, then you will be introduced. It might be 6 months from now. It might be a year from now. It might be 18 months from now. But you will be to a place where you're like, wow, this is flowing out of me. This is what I love doing. This is the impact that I want to make in the world. And I believe that many times income follows impact. I know that to be true. When you're in your zone of genius and you're making impact and you're willing to just make impact and kind of at all costs, that the income will follow. Many times right now, especially in the marketing space and in this entrepreneurial space, they're all about the income that we're going to make, I think that's not coming from a servant's heart as much as what's the impact. Now, I'm all about making income and making good income, having great streams of revenue, but I've got to do it from a servant's heart where I'm making impact before the income. And that's going to cost me something. That's going to cost me the time, the help that I need to ask for, the places where I have to do the work and really dig in, and then be willing to pivot a little bit here and there to where I find that. That's so much of what we help our facilitators do in the business that they're doing. And we give them the tools to do it through the content that we have here at The Process. So I hope I've made you think a little bit, that you'll pull out, that you'll journal a little bit about what do I feel is my zone of genius and how do I want to get there? What's the next step? And be okay with it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you something to get there. I would love to hear from you. I've been a little bit on my soapbox today on this podcast because I so believe in the process of helping you move to your zone of genius and helping you work through the hard parts of what it's going to cost you. That's what we do when we come alongside you, either as a one-to-one client or as someone that's in our certification program, is we lean in and we help you in those places through the content and the frameworks that we've developed. Remember to go check us out at thereallifeprocess.com. You can link to the book page there as well, just right there on our website. We have some brand new free offers that are coming your way, some free content on our website that also links up with the book, and you're going to love it. We have a new guidebook for you out there. So make sure you're on our mailing list, that you go there and download that free content. And we would love and be so honored if you would subscribe to the podcast and then share it out with a friend on social media. Say, hey, you may not know about the Real Life Process podcast. You may not know about the work that they do with the Real Life Process. You may not know about the YouTube channel that they have. Whatever those things are, we would love to connect with you. And we would love to just have you follow us in those places. One of the best places to stay in touch with us right now is in our Facebook community at the Real Life Process Community. Go on over there. You can find out about all the great things that are going to be coming out and happening this fall in that small community. You just have to fill out a couple questions to join, and then we get you right in there so you can engage and be with us here at the Real Life Process. So thanks so much for listening. And just lean into, what's it cost me to go to the next place? We'd love to be on that journey with you. Remember that every ordinary day has an extraordinary moment. You just have to look for them. And we'll be back next week with the Real Life Process podcast. Have a great week, everyone.